Hi, I'm Kim, a former corporate auditor and senior product marketing manager with Audit Board. Welcome back to Audit Board Essentials, where we discuss fundamentals for a working knowledge of audit, risk, and compliance. Today, we'll be discussing strategies for writing an effective audit report. You'll be able to find this information and so much more in Audit Board's Audit Management Playbook, which can be downloaded in the link below. Let's get started. A good internal audit report is one that clearly communicates the objectives, scope, and findings of an audit engagement. It should also motivate its readers to take recommended actions to mitigate risk and ensure the company is meeting its objectives in the most efficient way possible. The report usually starts with a description of the scope and objectives of the audit. Now, this section of the report establishes what the audit was about, why the audit risk areas are important to management, and what the team reviewed as part of the audit. The next section of the report should detail the issues that were found. For most audit departments, this section not only includes issue information, but also details of the recommendations and action plans for each of the issues noted. The last section of the report, or the conclusion, gives the audit team a chance to make comments that extend beyond the individual issues in the issue section, and is where most reports include the internal auditor's opinion on the areas being audited. This is also a great opportunity to include a positive note acknowledging areas where management did really well. Also, for an audit report to make an impact on the business, it must motivate leadership to act upon internal audit recommendations. So here's a few tips to help you create a strong executive summary. Aim for brevity as much as possible. Use numbers and percentages to help drive points home, and eliminate any unnecessary descriptive adjectives and adverbs. Now, let's talk more about writing the detailed report. Depending on the report, the expectations set during the opening meeting, and the findings, the contents of the report may vary. For example, if there were more findings and complexity in the audit than anticipated, you might need to include more detail. The contents of the detailed report, however, are typically as follows: the background or overview of the audit, the scope and approach of the audit, which discusses what was being audited, the audit period, a finding summary where you'll discuss the audit results, both positive and negative, and lastly, your detailed observations, which needs to include the 5 C's: criteria, condition, cause, consequence, and corrective action plans or recommendations. That's it for this episode of Audit Board Essentials. Be sure to subscribe and tune in to our channel for future episodes where we'll be covering the nuts and bolts of a foundational knowledge of audit, risk, and compliance.